Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Evolve Love and happy Thursday. Happy Jupiter Day. I'm really looking forward to today's episode because it is my introduction episode of myself. It's so interesting because here we are, our 25th episode. I have introduced the concept of this podcast and shared so much already here, but I haven't even introduced myself. And so I thought today, being a day of expansion and amplification, I wanted to share a little bit about myself. This is helping me to expand my own self, to step into who I am and to share who I am. And in this episode today, my hope is for all of us in this process of expansion to think about all of the items that I'm bringing into today's episode and how it may apply in your life and how you may feel about some of the things that I'm talking about in today. So who am I, right? This is Evolve Love, and I am Amanda Couturier-Cormier. I am the host and founder of Evolve Love. If you have listened to the intro episode, or the trailer, you'll know that the whole reason for this Evolve Love podcast is because I am deeply passionate about writing a daily reader or more than one. And this podcast is the outlet that felt like the best place for me right now at this time. So where I'm not sitting down and writing this book, I had this idea to share it all here. My voice wants to come out in the words that I'm sharing here, not necessarily through what I would write down. And I feel this pull and this push so strongly. So I'm just honoring that. I'm honoring that and showing up in this space and making this be the daily reader of sorts for at least the time being. So I also, too, I've just been so incredibly amazed at how much this podcast has grown in such a short amount of time. And I really feel like that is also connected to the reason why I needed to do this. It was important. It was felt. It was needed. It was seen. And here we are. So I'm Amanda, like I said. I am a mother, a wife, I am a dance teacher, I'm a movement teacher, I am a friend, I am so many things. I really do feel like I am so many things, but I love all these things that I am. And I know this week we're talking about learning and expanding with our curiosities. And so really, truly, a lot of the roles and titles that I have come to the overall theme of teacher, guide, supporter, nurturer. Those are really a lot of the roles that I carry when it comes down to not necessarily the labels that I have, but it's the action of what I'm doing within these labels. I'm guiding, I'm nurturing, I'm supporting. And that is really truly how I see myself. And that is how I see the space too, is to help provide this for those who may be looking for it. So with this is something that I actually wanted to talk about today because with the writing of the daily reader, I've also started many drafts for other different books as well. I love to write. And so when I was preparing this intro episode for myself, this thought came into my mind. And back in 2019, I started writing another draft for another book about work and how it defines us. And I wanted to read a little bit about it because just now you heard me introduce myself. You introduced the roles that I live, but you also heard me introduce the actions that I associate with those things and why I like those titles more than I do the roles themselves. And this is a little bit from the draft of that particular book that I want to talk about right now, because when someone asks you, who are you? Or what are you? How do you answer? Like, what is your first instinct in answering that? Like, if you're at a party and you're meeting people that you've never met before and you're just having this small talk, right? Like, hi, how are you doing? Oh, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Right there. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? And with that, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? Is it the title of who you are? Or is it the action of what it is that you do? And why is it that so often the way we introduce ourselves is by the label of the work that we do? So this now is from the draft of a portion of the book here that will probably go into the Daily Reader one day, because I feel like this is a beautiful passage to think on for your day ahead. So, why is work used as a way to define who we are? As a child, you aren't asked, what is your subject area? As if you have one specific area you are confined to, a subject that owns you, a subject that you own. It is more like, oh, I enjoy history and I excel in math, but there are so many ways we could excel in school. We were never defined by one subject matter. So why are we now? Even if you go to college and you go to pick your major in college, you pick one area to focus on. You even get a certificate with your name on it in regards to that one subject area. To me, it seems so strange to have such vast amounts of knowledge in our world, so many areas to concentrate in, so many areas that feed off of each other, to only be able to just sit down and pick one area. Some might call this, I'm just going off of my own self here, but some may call this like an area of expertise. But why do we have to limit ourselves to one area? And so this whole concept was like really built for me, and this idea of when you're having small talk, one of the first things in conversation that comes up is, what do you do for work? Why is that our go-to? It's an easy conversation starter, sure, but can we reach the heart of someone through the work that they do? Can we talk about, maybe, like I said, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do? What are your interests? And then if the work that you do comes up, that's beautiful too, because maybe and hopefully you are passionate about the work that you do. But it really got me thinking about how we really limit ourselves in sharing about who we are, because we think about, where do we fit into all these little boxes, or what subject area can we define ourselves by? And I think that we are so much more complex than that. So when you are introducing yourself, the next time that you do it, think about that. Think about, what are the complexities of you? How can you really share who you are? Because to limit yourself to just one or two things, you are so much more expansive than that. Truly, you are. And looking back at this book too, I even continued to write here, we are constantly growing as humans and evolving. So should our work. It should not remain the same. How can we work with work to make it more about how we are living? What are we experiencing? And this is such a really interesting to look back at these words, because I'm serious. It was like 2019 was the last time I saved this draft. I saw it in the, when I pulled it up, but I knew it was there. I've always known it was there. I just haven't necessarily opened it up recently. And as I was preparing for this episode, I knew this was what I wanted to share and talk about, because this was a very big changing moment for myself. It was actually me on the cusp of my first and maybe my biggest burnout that I had experienced. And I experienced it before COVID, which was really interesting, because in the work field that I'm in, a lot of people felt the burnout during the pandemic or after. But I actually felt mine before. It was really helpful for me to be having that burnout at that time, because then when everything stopped and slowed down, I gained such an appreciation for elements of my life that I didn't realize would shift or change, and they did. But when they shifted and changed, I shifted and changed for the better. So this whole draft that I have here, it was, like I said, it was leading into one of my biggest burnouts, and it changed me. It did. And now when I am asked, what do you do for work? I do still say I'm a dance teacher, but I also offer so much more. And I share with them too that for me, I've always thought of myself as a support, a nurturer, a warm, kind, and loving friend. I am there when you need me, and I really do try to live by that. And the biggest thing for me right now is not just nurturing others, but nurturing myself, because that has been something that has slipped through in the past couple of years. As I nurture and give so much outward, I am noticing in the areas where I'm not doing the same for myself. So think about this today when you're going about your day. If we were sitting down together and having a conversation and I asked you to share about yourself, what would you tell me? And this is just such a beautiful exercise to do, to work on and to see your expansion and your growth, because the answer you give me today is not the answer you're going to give me 5 years from now. It's not the answer you would have given me 5 years ago either. We are always evolving and changing, like I said, and it is with the love and care that we give back to ourselves, which helps to hold us in that evolvement, which is exactly what Evolve Love stands for. So I want to thank you all so much for being here. Your support and love means the world to me. I just absolutely love the space, and I'm so excited for the future of Evolve Love, and I'm so excited every day to show up here. So I cannot wait for you to hear tomorrow's episode. It is such a fun one. It is such a beautiful one, and I'm really excited about it. So make sure you're following on the podcast platform of your choice, because when you hit that follow button, it helps others to find exactly this type of content, and they might be looking for it. And also, if you feel called to share this with friends, I would absolutely appreciate that so much. But more than anything, I appreciate you, and I'm so grateful for you being here, and I look forward to checking in with you tomorrow.